If I want to get lean, I'm eating too much and I'm not working out and I'm not tracking my macros. Three strikes. If I want to get strong, I'm not lifting the way I should. That's actually the biggest thing.
But that's way better than the 3,000 I ate yesterday. And so at the end of the day, progress equals happiness, but you have to define what that progress is. You have to define what goal you actually want. You have to define what part of that process matters to you most.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, number 1167. If you're looking for an excuse, you'll find one. If you didn't listen, I promise it's not as hardcore as it sounds. Today, for episode number 1168, is your past better than your future? Happy Sunday. So we kind of alluded to this in a couple episodes. I think Alan and I went to a gym here in Toronto. It's 6 minutes away, called Good Life Fitness. Oh yeah. A very, very nice gym. It has 2 floors. There's an escalator, boxing room, a huge, yeah, it's a really, really nice gym. But when we got back, it was interesting because I could tell we were both a little off. When we got back, we had this conversation of,
how was your workout, man?
Yeah, how was your workout? And Alan said it was really good, man, really strong. But then there was a but. And I don't remember exactly what the but was, but we ended up getting into a deep conversation where we asked each other. Alan asked me this question. He said, Kev, is your best in your past?
With fitness.
With fitness. And I said, honestly, yeah, probably. I think there are certain times in my life where I achieved a high level of fitness that I don't think I won't say capable. I don't think I'm willing to do again. I don't think I'm willing to put myself through the process to get there again. And we had this very interesting conversation where I've been very humbled in fitness. Alan has been very humbled in fitness more than I realized. I didn't realize that until we talked today. But it made us say, okay, were we better in the past than we will be in the future? Have we peaked? Have we peaked in fitness however many years ago, and is it quote unquote all downhill from here? So we wanted to do an episode on it because we, as you know, we value doing episodes on things that we're going through. Because if you're younger, maybe this episode will inspire you to make a different decision. If you're at our age in your early 30s, maybe you're feeling the same way. If you're later in life, maybe you're feeling the same way, or you wish you could have done something different, and we can have you think or change your awareness or just get a new piece of understanding.
So I'm very pumped about this episode.
You are.
Yes.
You seem unhappy to do it.
No, I know.
Just genuine.
Generally, I'm emotional about this because I think there's 3 positions you can be in at any given time. You can be in the best position, which is I am now currently the best I've ever been. And in business, that's true for the Hyperconscious podcast converted to NLU. In our intimate relationships, I can wholeheartedly say that. You know, in terms of the home Emilia and I live in, I can say that. The living conditions, quality of life, all that kind of stuff. The one area of my life in particular that I cannot say I'm currently my best is fitness. And that's very hard for me. So the 3 positions are this. Number 1, you're at your best. You're at the best you've ever been. And I have a lot of clients that are actually there, and it's like awesome. Because I always ask them, 0 to 10, where are you at in terms of fulfillment and achievement? And they'll usually say, I said 10 means you're the best you've ever been. 0 means you're absolutely off the rails. Nothing's going well, everything sucks. And usually they'll say 10. They'll say this verbatim. They'll say, I don't like to give 10s, but I am the best I've ever been, so 10. I say, okay, awesome. Now let's make that 10 into an 11, and then it's a sliding scale. I know, Kev, you like the sliding scale. So position number 1 is awesome. And I remember being there in fitness because unlike Kev, who started working out when he was 16, I didn't get serious in fitness until 26 after my car accident. So position 1 is you are currently the best you've ever been. You're in the best relationship you've ever been in. You are the wealthiest you've ever been. You are the happiest and most fulfilled you've ever been. You're in the best shape you've ever been. Okay, all that. And again, this is contextual to the arena. In this case, we're talking fitness, but think about your whole life. Second position is you're not at your best, but you know you're headed there. I like that position too. I'm okay with that position. Income-wise, for a long time, Kevin and I, so in my early 20s, I was responsible for an $80 million portfolio for a company called Sensata Technologies used to be Texas Instruments, if you know the calculators. And I was trending up. I was making 65 a year, eventually 85 a year. I left Sensata. I ended up with 105 a year, which was risky because I was offered 100 and I pushed it for 105. Should have done that. But anyways, I did. And then I made it to 125 and then up and up and up from there. Referral program, all this stuff. Okay, job hop. Now, for a long time in you and I's business, I was in position 2, which is I'm not making the most money I've ever made. I'm not as valued as I used to be. I'm not as respected as I used to be in the marketplace, but I'm on my way to the most respected, most wealthy I've ever been. And we're definitely there, and now we've surpassed our old best, finally. And it took us a while. I mean, it took us 4 years, 5 years to surpass our old best, because you made 6 figures as well. So position 1 is you are at your best and getting better. Awesome. Position 2 is you're not at your best, but you know you're headed there. Position 3 is what I encountered today. Position 3 is my least favorite position in the world. And it's, position 3 is helpless. Position 3 is I'm not at my best, and I'm not headed towards my best, and I'm not even sure I can. I don't like that at all. And I think a lot of people live there. There's a concept in psychology called nihilism, where nihilism is basically a deep belief that the best is in the past, or your best is in the past. The opposite of nihilism is hopefulness. It's knowing that even though now sucks and maybe the past sucked, the future's brighter than the past. The future's brighter than the now. I have a bright future. Think about a young man or woman who's in high school who it just has a big bright future ahead of them. We just talked to some kids in high school. We were on stage and that was why I love talking to kids, is because your future is ahead of you. You have so much, you have no idea. We talked to this one young man, loves learning, came up to Kevin and I after the speech and he was just talking about all these endeavors. And I remember thinking to myself, like, wait a minute. And I asked him his age. I said, so you're 15 years old. I think you might have been 16 or 17. I remember thinking to myself, like, wait a minute, I'm 34. So if you improve by even 1% per day, listen to our podcast, whatever, you have 17 years to get to where we are. Like 17 years of improvement. You and I didn't start really improving until we were in our mid-20s. Yep. Imagine taking what you've done over the last 5 years and doing that for 17 years. Like, my goodness. So it's just this hopefulness that I felt for this young man. I felt the opposite for myself today. And I had a very real humble pie moment, and I talked to Kevin about it, and I was like, do you think your best is in your past? Because I feel like it might be. And I think that might be true for me. And am I willing to tolerate that? Because no, I don't think it's impossible for me to get back to where I was. I think it's improbable based on the trajectory, the current trajectory. And I think it's improbable based on the demands on our time regarding business and being the CEO, CFO of a globally growing business. And I'm very grateful for that. But that was the humble pie moment. And so you have to really self-assess and say, okay, am I willing to allow my best to be in my past? And if so, I do acceptance. It's called ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy. And I just accept it. Like, you being short, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to accept that and learn and do therapy. Or if you can change it, change it. But it's a decision. And I told Kevin, and this is the vulnerable part, I said, I have no wiggle room. I had a moment in that gym today where it was like, okay, is it possible for me to naturally, meaning no steroids, get back to where I was and surpass that? Yes, but I have no wiggle room. I have to take this very seriously, and I think by 40, meaning 6 years from now, I can probably pull that off if I'm very dedicated. And so today we went and got Subway instead of Five Guys, burgers and fries. Last night, this was already on my radar because I didn't get fries at Five Guys Burgers and Fries, which I massively regretted.
You didn't eat many of mine?
I ate many of Kevin's, yeah, because he had leftovers, and I got peanuts, but I didn't eat the peanuts. But at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about here today, which is your best in your past. And I know a lot of my clients, and I know a lot of you out there were on sports teams in high school or in college, and you were in better shape back then. And I'm telling you, there's something helpless about that. There's something that feels defeating about that. And that humble pie can be really hard. And I hope that everyone out there knows that we empathize with you. Because yeah, we're very successful in many regards, but we are not as good as we once were in fitness, and it is absolutely hard. It's actually, it really sucks, and there's no sugarcoating it. It really sucks, and the question is, where do we go from here?
One of the interesting things, and I've said this before, because I have these days, just because you're not at your best doesn't mean you have to make yourself get to your worst.
Right.
And I think that's a common thing is, well, I've already, and just a microcosm, I've already overeaten today. I might as well go all in. And I might as well get blank. Like, I do that for sure. Yeah. It's like, well, I'm already going to be over my calories. I might as well just have ice cream and everything else too. And I think that's a challenging part of it. It's interesting because I think, and we had this conversation today, I told Alan, I said, I think you're more disheartened than I am. And I'm not 100% sure why. I don't know if it's you have much bigger goals than I do. You have higher belief in yourself. But I think in the moment where you're talking, I do feel like I'm making progress towards getting better, just not in the ways that I once did.
But are you making right?
Like with mobility,
yeah.
My shoulder hasn't been bothering me. That I'm focused, and I don't know if that's.
But are you trying to make progress toward better than your old best?
I think I've redefined what better is.
Right.
I think.
Well, let's go into that because I think that's useful too for people.
I used to want to be the guy who had abs and could take off his shirt all the time. Yeah. I don't necessarily know that that's where I'm at. Because a lot of that for me was significance. Yeah. For sure.
Well, you're also getting significance in other places, so you don't need that as much.
I want to be strong. I want to be strong. That if I want anything, I want to go back to when I was as strong as I used to be.
So that's more disheartening for you, is not being as strong as you used to be.
For sure.
So when we were incline pressing 60s, and it was challenging. It was challenging for me. I don't know how challenging it was for you. I think you did 80s later.
No, I did 70s.
I did 70s. Yeah, I had to leave. No, I'm joking. I went and did different workouts. But 60s for me with incline press is, I think I did it for 8 or something. Yeah. I think probably 8. But I'm not as strong as I once was. I always think of that quote. What is the quote?
I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
And Kevin and I always joke, Kevin more than me, about what does that mean? Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
That should have been the title of this episode.
It's like fall down 9 times, get up 10.
Yeah, it's like you can't.
You've revealed to me that that's not numerically possible. Blew my mind.
You bunked that Denzel Washington, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Yes. It's like you can't. If you only fall down 7 times, you can only get up 7 times. But you've redefined what matters to you. And I think that it's you against you if you're out there listening or watching this. It has to come down to what matters to you. Because you can either redefine what you really want. Because I had an option, and I'll talk vulnerably about this. My option today was throw in the towel and say that the best holistic athlete that you've ever been in terms of aesthetics, in terms of strength, in terms of size, muscle mass, and leanness was in your past. The best was in the past for you. And I could hang that, retire that, throw the white flag and retire that. I know that athletes go through that. I talked to Kevin about this earlier. There's a time in every athlete's life where they go, okay, maybe the best is in the past. Maybe I need to hang the towel. That's why they retire. That's why people who play in the NFL in their 40s, people are like, whoa, because you're not as good as you used to be, but you're still going. And so you can either redefine your identity, or you can keep aiming for what you want. And that's an option. I think the main takeaway here is do that process consciously and be very careful of what you choose. Because if I tell myself a story that I don't care, it's not true. And I know that for me. And I already feel better by the fact that we got Subway. Same. Because I actually tracked. So I downloaded my FitnessPal today. I paid $80 for the year. Yeah. And I tracked all of my calories today. 2,050 calories, so I went over by 50. But that's way better than the 3,000 I ate yesterday. And so at the end of the day, progress equals happiness, but you have to define what that progress is. You have to define what goal you actually want. You have to define what part of that process matters to you most. It makes sense why people struggle with fulfillment, man. It's a whole thing, because I'm so grateful, right? I mean, Kev, we passed a homeless man sleeping on the side of the street we are so blessed. You know, we're blessed with health, with wealth. We're blessed with amazing intimate partners. We have roofs over our head. We have revenue coming in. We have listeners all over the world. Like, we're so blessed. So how dare I sit here and feel unhappy or unfulfilled because one area of my life is not what it once was. But at the end of the day, I know what I'm capable of, and I know that I'm letting myself down. And I hope that everyone watching or listening to this, at the very least, I hope you're just honest with yourself. Like, if you have unrealistic expectations for yourself, that's a losing game. You're just always going to feel like crap. Don't do that. But if you know that you're more capable than you, and you know that you could be better, and you know you want to be, start working towards that, because you will feel better. You will feel more fulfilled. And honestly, Kev, you've helped me, because to pull back the curtain here so everyone is aware, Kev is someone who has seen me at my best. He was at my show that I won. And he was there for a lot of the prep, and he was, there during my best. And he saw the effort then versus now. He also saw the results then versus now. And he's been very honest with me, brutally at times. I'm joking. But
I would say it's been brutal.
It's been challenging, yeah. But I think it's also helped me, because it's motivated me. But it also, and if Kevin were to say, oh, I was mean and now Alan's disheartened and I feel bad, that's not what's right, because he actually has helped me. Genuinely, I made changes. I've already made positive changes, and I wouldn't have if you weren't honest. So I think there's something to be said for being honest with your friends too. And sometimes you do have to be a little bit cruel to be kind, I think, in the right context. I think some people take that too far, but...
Hi, my name's John Laurito, and I just wanted to give a big shout out to Kevin Palmieri. I had reached out to him. He had been referred to me when I had shared with a friend of mine some interest in doing a podcast, and he said, you've got to use Kevin. He's fantastic. He's the best around. He'll get you started and off the ground and soaring high. Kevin was phenomenal in terms of leading me through the whole process, and not just easy to work with, but really, really knows his stuff. So whether you're looking for somebody to help you and get you started, or somebody, as I've done, where I'm putting it entirely in his hands because I've got total trust and confidence in him, any of those ends of the spectrum, you're gonna have a lot of success and a lot of fun working with Kevin. Trust me. Thanks.
Well, it's the other thing too, is I think it depends. You have to respect what the person says. You have to respect, I think my body, quote unquote, my body of work is enough, where I was the first one out of anybody I knew to do a bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
Right. I've been doing fitness for a long time, but it's hard. It sucks. It sucks saying that. But I think I also know, that's the thing too, is I know your goals. Yeah. I told Alan, I said, Alan, I understand right now I'm fluffy, I'm sloppy, I'm not as dialed in as I have been in the past. But even having that conversation helped me understand, and this is why it's so important to have somebody that you can have this conversation with. If I want to get strong, if my main focus is getting strong, eating more is not the bad thing.
I know.
Eating more and not training is the worst thing.
Yeah.
That helped me understand, if I want to get lean, I'm eating too much and I'm not working out and I'm not tracking my macros. Three strikes. If I want to get strong, I'm not lifting the way I should. That's actually the biggest thing.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing for me.
Which I've been training.
Right.
And I've been eating poorly, but training consistently.
Yes.
You've been not training consistently.
And eating poorly.
Yeah.
But that helped me understand that maybe in one regard, it's almost like it's a step back for hopefully a step forward. Maybe in the past it would have been one step back for two steps forward. I don't know. But now that's my thought, is if I go get very strong, and I understand this is a very fitness episode, but I think it's a good example for what we're talking about.
And for life.
Life.
Fitness is such a good analogy for life, because it's the one thing you kind of can't fake it, although a lot of people do. It's work in equals results out. It's very direct. Yeah.
If I go get very strong, I will have a lot of muscle. I will get in the habit of tracking my calories. All I have to do is change the number, and then I'll get lean. And obviously do the work. Right. But I feel more empowered. I do. I feel more empowered after this trip based on that.
Right. I do too. But maybe we should touch on this. I felt disempowered, and then I transformed that into positive action, and now I feel empowered. And I think that's, maybe at some point we do this episode, but your trauma response to uncertainty and failure. And we kind of just talked about this in the last episode, which is the flight got canceled. We're disheartened. We had a moment of disheartened.
Yeah, of course.
We was like, this is going to suck.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's okay, let's innovate. What do we do about it? And how quick can you go from uncertainty and disheartened, which we did an episode about last week too, a lot of that going on lately, into new positive action. Yeah. And I told you this as well. If anyone is out there, I want to share this vulnerably too. I have a friend of mine who I used to spend a lot of time with who posted a photo, must be 3 weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. But while amongst me not feeling at my best, kind of knowing on some level I'm letting myself down, even though I'm still putting in the work, I know that I'm not tracking the way I once was in terms of calories. I went 400, I remember MyFitnessPal said 457-day streak. A 457-day streak, that's a year and a half of never missing tracking. Yeah. And now I'm intuitively eating, but it's not the same. It's not the same. And until you actually track calories and like write down every calorie and measure things out, I mean, it's just not the same game. So this other person who never misses his macros, never, who I used to be very, very close friends with, he posted a photo and he's just in the best shape. He's in unbelievable shape. And it's inspiring as hell. And Kev, that was disheartening for me a little bit. And I went happy for him, sad for me, because I used to feel in alignment with that standard when I was close friends with him. And I actually went back today, and you'll find this fascinating because I talked to Kevin about this. And I went and hearted the photo because I needed to give it love because I am impressed. I am impressed. It's not his fault that I'm Jeffin'. Yeah. And it's not fair that he's not going to get love on his post because I don't feel good about myself. Because I know that that's happened to me many times, especially when I was on point, so now it's good perspective. So if you've ever had any envy, if you're a human being, you've had envy, so let's just own that. What do you do with it though? Are you willing to give the praise where it's due? And at the end of the day, I'm not mad at him, I'm upset with me, and he's putting in work I'm not. And now I'm motivated. But I remember when I first saw that photo, it was like, Jesus, like I would love to be on that level. I remember what it was like to feel like I was headed to that level. And I want to get back there. And so, I'm not at my best. My best is currently in the past, but I'm not going to let that stand. And at very least, I'll be better off because of that.
And I told Alan this today. I said, I'm sure you've noticed, because it was a great conversation. We've had a lot of vulnerable talks on this trip. Yeah. I said, I'm sure you've noticed I'm not the same. I'm not as confident as I used to be. I used to walk in the gym like I owned it. That was just my mentality, and that was because I was putting in the work and I was proving that to myself. But I think what happens, two things. One, you look at the top of the mountain and you say, there's no way I can get there. Again, there's no way. When in reality, the first thing you need to do is make a step.
Yeah.
Download MyFitnessPal, awesome. Yeah. That's one of those indirect things. That's not going to change anything, but it's going to change everything.
Yeah.
In this weird way. And the other thing you have to understand is when you get that, and this happened to me, and like I had a breakthrough in this episode, the only way for it not to get worse is for you to let it be bad for a while. I'm gonna have to go to the gym and be uncomfortable around people who are stronger than me. I'm not used to that. Yeah. I'm used to being pound for pound the strongest person I know, one of the strongest people I know.
Yeah.
I know people that are stronger than me. But now that Jeff's me. My identity's all off, my confidence is all off. That is louder than absolute anything. I think the common thing is I'm way too far gone to get back. When in reality, if you stop going, it's gonna manifest as that result. You can turn it around.
The discomfort of the old identity is so hard. But you have to let that old identity burn down in order to build from scratch. And this is going to come very full circle, and we'll go and dollar in the jar. When Kevin first came back into my life, when I came back into Kevin's life, he had messaged me on Snapchat. We're doing a lot of reminiscing these days. Because on stage, we went all the way back, and we told stories from way back in the hyperconscious days. Kev messaged me, he said, Alan, I feel like Superman in the gym and Clark Kent in real life. It's the opposite now.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the opposite
For
now.
sure.
Isn't that so interesting?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah. That's such a trip. Now he feels like Superman in real life and Clark Kent in the gym.
I said that today. I said, Alan, I feel great at business.
I know.
I've never felt as good as I do in business.
I know.
But that's been going
But
back to
I never
the
felt
balance.
good in fitness. So
Right.
I always felt good in
I know.
success in business.
I know.
So isn't that
Yeah,
ironic?
it's very interesting.
Yeah. And so you're okay with feeling good about your future of success and wealth and business is what you always wanted. Yeah. I always wanted to be in better shape because I was lanky and out of shape for so long. And you always had the physique and I always had the success. And now we're both in the opposite
And I
places.
connect it, though. I connect success to easier fitness, too. That's another layer for me of, if I can get a massage every week,
Yeah.
I can go to the chiropractor once a month,
Yeah.
I can work with a physical therapist, I can order meal service.
Yeah.
For me, there's a lot of it that, but again, you can take that too far.
Yeah,
I'll
definitely.
start working out when I'm a millionaire. It's like, well, what happens?
Yeah, and how long does it
Right,
take? Because
right.
you're letting it ride.
So that is, please, don't take that as advice. But obviously with me, I think it's a little bit different because I've seen the growth and I know what's expected. So I do know that my lifestyle.
You're the most fulfilled you've ever been?
Yeah.
Same.
But I also am the most frustrated I've ever been in fitness.
Yeah, same.
Which is
Same.
But I think
not ever, but in the last 7.5 years.
I am. This is the worst shape I've ever
been
not
in
ever.
Since you were 16, essentially.
Other than when I got surgery, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is health, wealth, and love. Kevin and I talked, the very last thing, I know I said that before.
Dollar in the jar.
We were talking about like how difficult is it to have an extraordinary relationship, an extraordinary body, and an extraordinary business. It's very difficult to have all three of those. It's holistic is better and it's more fulfilling, but it's way harder. Yeah. And I think that's important for all of our listeners to know. You've signed up for something challenging, but it's deeply fulfilling. And hopefully during this episode, you're reflecting on your past and, okay, well, I've gotten better in here, 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 and here. Great. Keep it up. Keep making progress. Stay humble. Okay, where do you need the humble pie? Where have you allowed your past to be your best? And where are you no longer willing to tolerate that? And where is the best in the past? And maybe that's okay. Maybe it's time to I have some fitness modeling photos where I look at them and it's like, okay, that's gonna be difficult. I have one in particular I'm thinking of. It's like, that's gonna be nearly impossible to get back to, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try. I can't go on, I'm not ready to hang my towel up yet. I'm gonna at least try. And I told Kev it might take 6 years of dedicated work and I'm in, so I can't live with myself without at least trying. So I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
That's right.
And that's the end of the episode.
That's right. Next Level Nation, if you listen to us, there is a possibility that at some point you're going to want to start a podcast. That just seems to happen. If you listen to a podcast, hopefully it impacts you in a positive manner. You have a message, you have a mission, you have a story that you want to get out there, you have a voice. Please reach out to me directly. You can check out the website, nextleveluniverse.com. There's a page for Next Level Podcast Solutions. What if I told you that we could get you a podcast and take care of everything for less than $300 a month? I will leave you with that. You could have a podcast and work with me for less than $300 a month. Nobody else is going to offer that. It's wildly cheap, hopefully affordable. If it is, please reach out. We would love to serve you.
And maybe you're not ready for a service. Maybe you want to start small and do it yourself. He also has another podcast called Podcast Growth University. This is Next Level University, how to level up yourself. That is Podcast Growth University. So if you really want to dip your toe in for free and just check it out, it's podcasting. It's about podcasts for future podcasters and current podcasters. So check that out.
It's growing faster than this podcast did in the beginning. That's all I'm going to say.
That's it. And that's because it's just Kevin,
me,
not me.
Right.
No.
Right.
But Podcast Growth U, and check that out. The link will be in the show notes.
A double plug. For me.
That's it.
Wow, thanks,
Yeah,
man.
man. You're welcome.
Next Level Nation tomorrow, and we have to record this tonight. It's 10 o'clock p.m. You got to do your FaceTime. We're Jeffed. Tomorrow for episode number 1162. How has your ego changed over the years? Again, it's going to be a contextual story from this trip. As always, we love you, appreciate you, grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans, we have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Talk to you soon.